Coverage there. Now, Facebook is in the fight of its life. Look at this story. Former FTC official now says a Facebook executive gave false testimony to an international panel in the UK. This official says that, in fact, Facebook did let app developers get your information even if you had set your profile to private. This, as the UK may release within 1 week's time thousands of potentially explosive documents it had seized recently from Facebook, including Mark Zuckerberg's emails. Already, the documents allegedly show that Facebook was investigating Russians' data harvesting on the Facebook platform way back in 2014, 2 years earlier than Facebook has said. Joining me now, Republican Texas Congressman, we welcome to the show Louis Gohmert. Great to see you, sir.
Great to see you, Liz. Thank you.
What's your take on this Facebook story? Will it be regulated?
Well, I don't know, Liz. I'm not a big fan of regulation. What I would like to see, and what some of us have been moving on, I have a bill that would, for so long, Facebook, Google, YouTube, different Twitter, Google, they've said, all we are is a town square, so we should have immunity from any kind of lawsuits. And they've had immunity. They are not town squares. They are publishers. They decide using algorithms what works, what they allow in, what they don't. And so they ought to be subject to lawsuits, and I think some billion-dollar class actions here and there would probably change their conduct pretty dramatically. And I think it would do a far better job than trying to over-regulate and leave that to bureaucrats here in Washington to regulate. Let's just let people sue that have been screwed over, people like you were talking about, who had signed their profile that their data would not be released, and then to find out, Facebook was letting that be released. They were not protecting it, so it was released. Sounds like a class action lawsuit. All we got to do is remove their immunity, and I think they would work a little harder to avoid billion-dollar class action lawsuits against them.
Yeah,
I think that's the key.
Right.
And Liz, by the way, during one of our hearings where we had Google and Facebook, Twitter, and one of them made the pitch, look, we just want to be treated like Fox News, thinking that was going to make points. And I said, you know what? We both agree. I want you to be treated like Fox News so you can be sued when you misrepresent the facts or when you misrepresent your product. I would love for you. That's what I'm shooting for, too. Yeah, they thought it would be cute, but, Fox News is a publisher, and so are these internet companies.
Well, that's a heck of a story. We'll stay on that. Let's get to the border. I like your response to this. I don't know if you saw this. The migrant caravans now issuing a list of demands. This is what they now want. End deportations, accelerate the asylum process. They want permanent accommodation in Mexico negotiated with the incoming Mexican government. They want to lift President Trump's order on asylum, and more and more. What do you mean? Are they in any position to make demands?
Well, they're in a position to make demands if we let them, and only if we let them make demands. Fortunately, we have a president that I think is going to be able to stand up well against that kind of blackmail and extortion. He's not going to be part of it. And so, but we have bills here, and it's been one of the big pushes. We need to get the president some funding for the wall where we need it. We need to, I think, and I have a bill that does this. It just says if you do not enter the U.S. legally, you cannot make a claim for asylum. And of course, it's pretty clear international law. If you are offered asylum in a country before you get to the United States, you don't get asylum in the United States. So the president's handling this correctly, and although he doesn't use tear gas in the Trump administration, but a fraction of the number of times that the Obama administration used it, because he's much more soft-hearted than President Obama and his administration. But, and yes, I said that with a straight face, because they don't use tear gas as much as Obama did. But these are things
and they
that
didn't,
we need.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
We need to deal with these before we leave.
Yeah.
I'm afraid our leadership's just going to take the snap get funding through the year and forget the wall, forget immigration, forget asylum.
Yeah.
And we have got to give the president the help he needs, and we can do it through reconciliation. All it will take is 50 votes, because if it's 50, we can get the vice president. And we can do it through reconciliation. It's a process that doesn't require more than 50 votes in the Senate. And I keep hearing people, well, we can't get 60 in the Senate. All we got to do is have a resolution from the budget that mandates, and actually Brad Byrne has this bill, and it's called the 50 vote for a wall bill. And that's, it would require the resolution through the budget process, and then we can fund the president's wall for $25 billion. We ought to give the president the help. We didn't give him help before the election. I think that help cost us a majority because people didn't turn out the way they would have for President Trump, because they know he's worked to keep his promises, and we have people that kept us from keeping ours.
Congressman Louis Gohmert, you're terrific. Can you come back on the show? We love having you on.
Are you kidding, Liz? I love talking to you in the green room or wherever we are. Thank you.
And you know, Stuart Varney loves you. He calls this a Varney spin-off show. I don't know if you knew that, but we'll have you back on, Louis.
Yeah, okay. That's great. Well deserved.
You're great, Louis. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Liz.
we will have more in the fight over border wall funding.